basic conductor bar. Comes with a splice cover on it. Simple assembly. This is aluminum bar, so we'll use a light coating of conductive grease on mating surfaces. With the grease on, get the head of the bolt in there, slide the surfaces together.
Now real quick, this bar, it's aluminum, but what's the amperage on this bar?
This is 200 amp aluminum bar.
Okay.
It also comes in 315 amp and 400 amp aluminum. We also have copper bar, similar amperages. So aluminum or copper bar, you need to use conductive grease on all mating surfaces. So once you have your splice connected, we have a joint cover.
Now on this, real quick question, sorry. Now when you're tightening this down, you don't want to tighten it down really hard, right? I mean, it's kind of snug.
It's 5 to 6 foot-pounds is recommended.
Okay. So that's pretty snug. That's not
that's snug. Yeah. You're not. Don't bear down on it because it is aluminum. You could bend it, do something. So basic joint cover. The joint cover has a lip on here, which acts as a spacer and a locking mechanism. So we'll twist one side of that on, and then the other side just rolls around and snaps into place here. And then your end covers will snap into place. But the little ridges right here help secure this joint cover onto the lip of the cover, so it stays in there properly, and then you have smooth transition of your collector. Okay. If this isn't put on correctly, if it's done a sloppy job, these edges could deflect the collector as it's going up and down the crane and cause problems.
Okay, so if this isn't put on right, you said that it'll give you problems with the collector shoe. I would imagine it bounce off of there.
It can just we'll try to recreate a sloppy cover here. If you just tend to throw this on and put it like that, you're going to end up with a cover that's loose. One side, it can cause problems. It could be like this, and then when your collector comes along, it could hit the cover, push the cover off, cause a bind. It's pretty simple just to put it on correctly, and then you're done.
So even though it seems simple, it is real important to get that on correct. And
as elementary as it is, it's an important part of it to snap it on, get this lip on the inside there, and then that in turn everything, the side pieces here fit properly, the cover fits over the lips of the undercarriage and the cover, and it's just a nice fit.
Right. Now another thing you pointed out is that now with each one of these systems, it comes with this manual, right?
The manual, as I mentioned earlier, we try to pack all the bar, all the components for a system in one. It comes in a wood box. So when you open the box, you'll have your brackets, you'll have your hangers, all the components you need to start with. And then by the time you get all that stuff used up, you're ready to put the bar up.
Right.
Take a few minutes though to go through the manual. It's pretty simple. It's got some useful information. You should have a layout drawing that will show you where your power feeds go, where your anchors go, if it's a long system, where your expansions will go, and so forth and so forth. But it also gives you a list of what tools you're going to need and helpful tips just for everything along the way, like proper spacing, torque values, how the components go together. It gives you the little diagrams, and it just, as you're going through that, look at the parts in the box, and you can say, okay, here's a hanger, here's a bracket. This is,
Right.
you know, get familiar with the
Yeah.
parts, so when you get going, you know
Right.
what the manual is actually talking about.
So opposed as to like putting together IKEA furniture where we just open it up and try to figure it out, consult the instructions. Like it is actually advisable to read the directions
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
And it doesn't take
If
very
you're
long.
not familiar with it, absolutely go through it. And like I said, you just some people call a collector, a contactor. People have different names for different
Sure.
parts. So this is what we call these parts. So
Right.
become familiar with it.
All right, cool. All right, so this is a splice cover.
This is connecting two standard pieces of bar together, and this is a standard joint.
So everywhere where you connect two rods together, you're going to have one of these.
Every place except the power feed connector,
Right.
and when we'll get into that here in a little bit.
There.
Power feed is you start the same way. You have two pieces of bar that you're going to joint together. The difference with the power feed is we have to take off these nuts off of both pieces of bar. We leave the splice cover on, or the joint. We leave the joint splice joint on. Sorry, I said cover. But you take the spring lock washers that come with the standard joint, and you throw them away. And we're going to use an external expanded lock washer, just for a better holding pattern. We're at this power feed here. Again, light coating of conductive grease on all mating surfaces. Put the top hat section on. Use the expanded lock washers for better holding power here. Be sure your bar is tight together. And there again, it'll go 5 to 6 foot-pounds for your joint covers. The next piece is this. This is basically this, like the joint cover we installed earlier, only it has cutouts here for the top portion of the top hat. So this will mount on there on the bar. It'll go just exactly like the joint cover we just discussed. Goes up one side. Goes up the other, around, and the ends snap together. It's exactly the same as a standard splice joint, except that it has the cutouts for the power feed. There are two ways to do this. The manual will tell you to open the cover up. Now, take this grommet out. You've already cut the hole in, and you'll feed this cable through, and then you will put a lug on the end after it's fed through, and tighten this. There again, put a little bit of conductive grease on the mating surfaces.
Yeah, and it's just a really thin coat. Right?
A very thin coat. It doesn't take much. Like I said, you'll be wearing it if you overdo it. So we put that on there. After that's crimped on there, And then we come back and slide the grommet back down, come around, and then we'll assemble this cover back over using our spring clamps here again. Assemble as much of the parts down below as you can. Try to put if you can, put the hangers on the brackets on the ground. It'll save you just a lot of trouble, just like dropping parts.
Yeah, as opposed to being 20 feet in the air and you drop it.
Right.
You
Drop your wrench, drop your screw, drop your bolt, whatever. Anything that you can put together on the ground is a big plus. So now we've got this cover, we've got our power feed hooked on there, our grommets back in. The power feed, there's a lip on both sides of the cover. The power feed cover snaps in one side, and then you go to the other side, and it snaps in with a little pressure from your thumb. But you can see that we've got a good fit. It's hooked here. It's hooked on the lip of the cover at all 4 contact points, and it fits right over your joint cover. And you're going to have a really nice fit here. One point on the cables. Support the cables. Don't let the cables rest on the bar. That's just not a good idea. Gather the cables together and support them above the bar so they're just out of the way and don't cause any problems down the road. There's another method that people have told me that they've used that they think is easier. So let's just pretend that. Let's pretend instead of feeding the bare end of the cable through the power feed and grommets and then attaching the lug. Let's say we put the lug on the cable first. There again, if your panel is right there, this would be an easy way to do this. That way you don't have to take the cover completely apart. Slide the cable through the power feed cover first, then slide the grommet on, and then we can come down here and we can just fasten our cover right on as we did before, and then just wiggle your grommet back in so it fits in the little groove that's in your cover, and you got it made.
That's a lot faster.
There's more than one way to skin a cat, so this is
Sure.
This is another way. So that'll cover your power feed connections, your basic splice joint, your power feed connections. So you're running down the runway here. You get to the end of your runway. You only need 8 feet of bar, so you're going to have to field cut your bar. The cover is always 2.6 inches shorter than the length of the bar to allow for your joint splices and everything. So that would leave 1.3 inches of bare bar exposed at the end.
So what's 1.3 inches on a tape measure?
That's just a little over 1.25 inches.
Okay.
So now we've got an end cover. It's consists of a little nut and bolt washer combination that slides right into the the slot of the conductor bar, and take it in a 1/2 inch. Take it in a 1/2 inch, and then we'll tighten that down. And then we have this rubber connector. I slide the cover as far down as you can, and then just wiggle that on. Get it started on the cover, and then bang, you're there. That little nut is inside this little protruding knob on there. That nut and washer keeps this from sliding off, and keeps the cover on there and protects anybody from getting electrocuted.
Cool.
On our collector, there's a little nylon locking bolt, and then there's a screw down here for your to tighten the lug for the cable. So we're using this type of cable, stripped back a 1/2 inch. It'll go right through this, right through here, down into your lug. Tighten your lug. Very secure. And then we'll tighten this nylon locking nut to just hold the wire from wiggling and keep any movement from pulling it out. And then that wire, of course, will go to your vehicle and operate, transfer the electricity from the conductor bar to your vehicle for movement.
Got it.
So now, if we want to go out in the shop, we can actually hang some full sections of bar and show you what a completed system looks like.
Cool. That's good.
Now let's just put up another section of bar. I've already put the end cover on. I know how long the bar is going to be. I already put the end cover on the ground, so that will save us some time. And we'll go back up here again. Put one side in, roll and snap. Put the other side in, roll and snap. And so forth and so on. And there again, the bar slides freely in those hangers. So just as we did before, we'll loosen our splice. We'll apply some conductive grease to the mating surfaces here, and then we'll if my bifocals will work, we'll slide this right in here. There we go. Okay. Then again, we have just our standard joint cover, just like we did on the sample pieces inside. You can see here very well that little lip goes under one side, and you roll the joint cover back around, and it fits perfectly in there. Now this could be instead of a joint, this could be a place where you put a power feed. So there again, we would do just like we did on the demonstration in the other room. We'd assemble our power feed here instead of a standard joint cover. Put your anchor up through there. Put your washer, your flat lock washer, and your nut back on. And there again, we'll tighten this down. This is a little bit tricky here, so you don't tighten these you want them tight, but not too tight. So you come and you get your wrench on both sides. I've got one here. We'll look at a little bit closer so we get a good shot. Okay, so we tighten these down, and the good test to know if you've got it too tight is just run a collector through there. This drags a little bit. Now that's going to cause problems down the road, because if your vehicle gets there, you're going to create a hot spot there. So we've got this one just a little too tight, so I'm just gonna back it off. Now the collector runs there nice and smooth. Gotcha. We've actually had systems where they've cranked those down so tight that the vehicle actually stops there and burned out the bar.
Wow.
So just a little simple test just like that. You want that collector to flow freely throughout there.
Just like it does on the rest of the bar, right?
Just like it does on the rest of the bar. Basically what you want on this is this gap on the top, just so it meets and so it's tight. Not like that, but just so this gap on this little gap right there is nice and tight.
Okay. Gotcha.
And that keeps your bar from sliding. It doesn't take much to keep it from sliding, but yet that keeps the cover from sliding. But yet, your bar can still move freely within for changes in temperature, heat and expansion type thing, contraction. So now we've got the ground bar. We recommend the ground bar always goes on be the first conductor that anybody would touch. So it would be inside or the outside, depending on how you look at it.
So on this, it would be basically it's our first bar. I don't know. I guess I would call it on the outside because it's on the furthest outside, right?
Yeah, it would be the first bar you would come in contact with if you're going to be working on it. So we always mount the ground bar on the outside. There again, goes exactly the same. Roll and snap. Gets all the same components as the orange bar, anchor. Tighten this up. Snug enough to be tight, but not too tight to make the bar or the collector drag through when passing through.
So every time you make this connection, it probably makes sense to just do a swipe real quick just to make sure, right?
Well, it is, and you can put all these up and then just do it all at once instead of one at a time. Yeah, you still adjust a little bit, because generally that's just about perfect right there. Generally, it just takes a slight turn one way or the other to tighten it or loosen it just a little bit. But yeah, you're only typically on a system, you're only going to have one anchor point, so you could put all your bar up and then just do one test and be done with it.
Right. Okay.
So let's put up another section. We've got our last piece of bar here to finish the end of the run. We'll put our end cover on the ground. Snug this down. slide the cover as far as that way as you can, and just wiggle the cover, or the end cover on over the cover, get it started all the way around, and then just squeeze it up until that protruding knob goes over the lug that holds it on there in place to keep it coming on. Bring it over here. Get your lip around on the inside and roll it around and snap in place. Now, a key thing is, which is, you know, very important, keep things straight, keep things level. And we'll get to that next point with the collectors, the mounting of the collectors. Here I've mounted a tandem tandem collectors, and then I have also a single. Sometimes the higher amperage you want tandem collectors. Variable speed drives usually will call for a tandem collectors. Sometimes you just have a short run, you need a single collector, not drawing much power. So we've already put our power connector wire onto this collector, so we'll just loosen these mounting bolt, the hardware, and we'll use this single one for demonstration. We'll go in there, slide it on. You'll have to kind of wiggle this. It's all spring loaded, so you have to use a little bit, but you want, here, let me pull this off. These heads have adjustment. They can go this way. There is a little bit, there's room for pivoting side to side. And then of course you got your spring for up and down. So there is room for a little bit of tolerance in a system. No building is perfect, and so your collector will have a little bit of give. But if you can line it up straight to start with, so your collector is directly underneath the conductor bar, it's going to have a big impact. So then, from the center of your mounting staff to your contact surface is a maximum of 4 inches.
Oh, okay.
That's very important, and I'll show you why in a minute. And these you can tighten. You want these to be tight because they'll, as they go up and down the runway, over time you always got a little jiggle. You want these to maintain themselves true.
Now, is there a specific torque on those, torque value?
I don't think so. I think you can tighten these just as tight as you want.
Okay.
Because that's a permanent thing. That's you want that to stay permanent. Now, if you have the tow bar too low or too high, your shoe is gonna wear. It can, you know, if you don't have this aligned properly, it's gonna ride on might ride on the front surface, might ride on the back surface, but you're gonna have uneven shoe wear, and you're not gonna have 100% contact with your contact surface. So you're gonna be losing some power just for that fact. Basically, this is a 90-degree angle here. This arm is right at a 90-degree angle. So, but from the center of your mounting staff to your contact surface is a maximum of 4 inches.
So they would measure it from right here
From the center,
to.
yes, the contact surface.
Okay. All right.
And same thing applies to whether a tandem collector. You know, the mounting is the same. It's just twice as much. What other questions do you have?
I think that's it.
This is basically your basic system. We've covered all the points from putting the hangers on the brackets down on the ground. There again, anything you put on the ground assemble is much easier than up in the air on a lift where you have a chance to drop something. Install your brackets first, and the rest of it actually goes together pretty simple. You know, a person with a lift can, once your brackets are up, can put several pieces of bar on your lift and just go down the line and snap them in, and then you can come back later and assemble your joints, your power feeds, your anchors. Right. After the bars hang in there loose, you still have plenty of room to slide it. So it's a wonderful product to work with. It's different than the old 8-bar in many ways, but once you put this up and use it a couple times, it's going to be the way you're going to go.
Right. Awesome. Well, hey, Al, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you showing us how to put this together, and
we appreciate you buying it. So,
all right.
All right.
Thank you a lot.
Okay.